Something significant happened on this day. Asanda, you were a baby, I'm sure. I'm not even sure if you were born. No, you were a baby, yeah.
Yoga. Matseko is still trying to convince me.
No, I've done that already, and you're going to come now on the journey.
I will try.
From all of us to all of you, may your season be safe and peaceful. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update with Lulu Kabu on Channel Africa.
It is 23 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. South African civil rights organisation Action Society is calling for decisive sentencing, mandatory placement on the National Register for sex offenders, and the public release of the register to prevent known offenders from quietly returning to spaces where children are most at risk. It comes after, they say, repeated failures in the justice system leave children exposed to known predators. And to discuss this further, we are joined on the line by a spokesperson for Action Society, Juanita du Preez. Juanita, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, how common is it for known offenders to remain in communities despite clear warning signs?
Well, there are no real statistics that we can believe, because the sex offenders register is not made public. The Minister of Justice said in February last year, after countless requests for this register to be made public, she said in February it will be made public by the end of that month. It's still not. Then she came back and she said, no, it's going to happen in phases and so on. We've heard nothing again of that. So it seems like she is a bit of a liar. And because court records are sealed, and especially when it's minors involved, we don't know how many people are not on the register or are walking around when they should not be around children, because we don't have access to any of the statistics. And it's frightening, because we have another case where it was the school transport driver, and he's a co-owner of the creche, and he was the one molesting a little 4-year-old girl. So you don't know who you can trust.
And how would compulsory inclusion on the National Register for sex offenders change the outcomes? And, in terms of how would it work if somebody lives in a certain area or in a certain street and people are aware of it? Obviously that will heighten security in terms of people will be more alert, but what does that mean going forward?
Yes, that is how we visualize it going forward. If you look at other countries, you get an alert to say that somebody with a less than ideal background has moved into your area, because they have to report when they move from area to area. At the moment, how our sex offenders register work is people can, and this is only employers of people who work with children, they can do an application to see if that specific person is on the list. So you cannot see the full, complete list as a normal person or as an employer. You can just ensure that the person you want to employ is not on that list. So it would be much more ideal and safer for the community if you, not even just children, for women as well, because then there's an offender in your area. If you can at least have, for a start, just access to who this person is, what they did, and where they are residing at the moment, because then you can take steps to protect your children and protect yourself if you're a woman. But in other countries, like I said, they have alerts going out and saying this person is now in your area, so be cautious.
Now, I just want to touch on something, and I'm not sure whether you realized you were doing it while you were doing it. The fact that even saying it out loud, the choice of words, somebody who is less than ideal, who has a less than ideal background moving into an area, that just, it sounded uncomfortable for you saying it out loud. Do we not need to start with that? The fact that we need to be quite firm about what it is, what message is being sent across. That Juanita is saying, this person is a sex offender, or this person is a pedophile, and so on.
I agree with you 100%, and I should have said it stronger. English is not my first language, so sometimes the words fail me. But yeah. I do agree with you. We have to be firm. We have to say, this is a sex offender. This is a child rapist. This is somebody who had sexual offense or have sexual offences against themselves or committed sexual offences. We should call it by its name.
Yeah. How can communities better protect children when the system is failing? And is there a risk that offenders are being prioritized over victim safety?
Yes, we find that in the cases that we are involved with, there are so many loopholes and so many rights for the offender that we completely forget about the rights of the victim. In most of the cases, we see such a long delay, which is also an injustice being done to them because they have to relive it every time. But the rights, the delay upon delay, because they have loopholes, it's not loopholes, it's legal procedure that allows them to let cases drag on and on and on and on. For example, there was another case now in the Western Cape. It's the longest case on record, and there's been no sentencing yet. 16 years. And now I think it was postponed to August this year for final sentencing. But this is obviously the longest running. But we have cases 3.5 years ongoing. So it is the rights, victim versus offender is definitely not balanced, and it's legal. And then how we can protect our children in our communities, our women, the vulnerable people, is we really have to start looking out for each other, and not just say my kids are my kids and I don't care what happens to other kids. We really have to be more cautious and be aware of what is going on
in our
around
communities,
because we don't have the necessary legal resources available to us at the
now,
moment.
Just in 15 seconds, Juanita, your message to lawmakers and the Justice Department right now.
Get moving on the National Register for Sex Offenders. Make it available to the public.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update. That was a spokesperson for Action Society, Juanita du Preez, joining us on the line. It is 12:31, and our news update up next.